Hey guys, Wrestling Throwdown here. I'm Haley, and you know Joe, and we are going to talk about Raw last night. Raw was, it had a few really good segments. The matches itself, though, were just kind of like, I don't know, kind of stale. And there was a few really bad segments too, like the Adam Rose segment, that was just horrible. But overall, it was a pretty good show. It was definitely there was a shocking return, obviously, so that's obviously put the icing on the cake. Even though I don't like him, but it still shocked me, and it was hilarious. It was a good segment, so there was quite a few good segments, and then we got ready for obviously got ready for the main event for obviously Hell in a Cell finally. So this Raw actually, it's funny because they changed the scripts a few times. I did read that about that they were kind of flip flopping, like they didn't know what they were going to do. And I feel like that's what they've been doing for the past few weeks. They've just been changing last second stuff. And I mean, I guess that's all fine and good, but I feel like they need to have this done by a certain time because it's not going to all work out smoothly if they just keep doing, the last second stuff. I mean, unless it's going to work good, like The Rock worked good and everything like that, but some of this last minute stuff I feel like is gonna kick them in the ass pretty soon.
A last second surprise return like The Rock or Jericho or something is great, but overall last second booking, it's very evident. And to me, I feel like from the reports I've read, a lot of this goes on Vincent Kennedy McMahon getting older, kind of getting out of touch. Looking at what the writing staff and Triple H have come up with, and Stephanie and whoever else has their hands in that, and repeatedly going through it with a fine-tooth comb, and repeatedly overthinking. Sometimes you just got to go with it, and you got to go with the plan. And to have a champion right now, which you probably don't have much planning with, besides maybe the big payoff at WrestleMania, but in between you have no planning, and all this, and besides the Cena, Seth, and Dean storyline, not a lot of strong stories going on. There's the lack of continuity is very evident right now, and it's evident in TNA as well. It's evident in a lot of wrestling companies. It's very befuddling to watch at this moment.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, they did good last night with the last minute booking, but it's just some of the stuff on here last night was just kind of crazy, and it was very unnecessary. Like the Adam Rose thing, but I'll give my opinions on the Adam Rose thing when we get to it. I definitely have some stuff to say about that. Alrighty.
Lemon.
Yeah, I think I have turned into a lemon. I used to be a rosebud, but I think I've turned into a lemon. Alrighty. Seth Rollins starts off, and he's pretty mad. I guess. I know I talked about how he was really pissed off on SmackDown. I kind of talked about his facial expression, why he was so mad because he got his briefcase back and he he looked strong at the end of Raw. So I was just I don't know why he was so mad. But I guess obviously they still played into him getting disrespected, so I guess that's why he was pissed on SmackDown. But he pretty much said that Dean Ambrose shouldn't. And he goes, no one embarrasses me. I'm the future, the WWE. And he's just all mad. He goes on a rant about, how it wasn't funny and blah, blah, blah. And Joey Mercury and Jamie Noble come out. I love how these two are just the center of attention every week now. It's just kind of funny. You never see them, and then now they're just really relevant. They come out.
They're the new Patterson and Briscoe.
They come out and they tell him to leave. And he goes, oh, what, you don't think I can take Dean Ambrose and John Cena? He goes, all eyes are on me, and this is how I planned it. I love it because all eyes are on me. And that's pretty much what he says. And John Cena comes out and attacks him. And then Seth, hurries up and makes an escape. And Dean Ambrose shows up from behind, and just all chaos comes pretty much. And Triple H comes out, and he makes a handicap match. John Cena and Dean Ambrose versus Seth, Randy, and Kane. And it's actually funny, too, because SmackDown was a rematch from last week's Raw, but going in, Seth, I even watched an interview, one of his recent interviews last week. He actually said the plan was for it to be John Cena and Dean versus him and Randy. I don't know why they changed that the last minute. It was kind of weird. But, yeah, so they make it a handicap match. And overall, it was a good segment, Seth, showing his emotions and everything. All that's good. And Dean obviously attacking John Cena, throwing him out of the way. He didn't really care. And that's what I love about that, Dean he was obviously pissed about the whole SmackDown thing with John Cena leaving him to attack Seth and leaving, Dean in for no one to tag. So obviously Dean was still upset about that. But overall, very good segment. Joe, your thoughts?
Very strong way to start off a much improved Raw. As you said, it had its holes, and we'll get into that. But I thought it was a very strong start, considering no Heyman, no Brock. They're telling this story well. Dean's getting a great shine from it. Seth's continuing to grow and evolve and adapt, as he likes to say. And he's doing a better and better job every week, being more comfortable, like you said, showing more emotion. And I thought it was a very, very excellent way to start Raw.
Definitely. It's funny, too, because everyone was just they didn't know how Seth was going to be as a heel, because a lot of people didn't really watch him in his Ring of Honor. They just thought he was way better as a face, but it's just like every single week he just gets stronger and stronger, more and more of an asshole, I guess, as you can say, and more hate on him because of how he acts, and he just does such a great job.
I think people were easy to paint him with the same brush as, say, a John Morrison or a Jeff Hardy, guys who have had trouble turning heel because they're athletic, and Rey Mysterio, another one. All three of those gentlemen never really had strong heel runs because they were athletic, and the crowd never quite hated them. And I felt like people thought Seth were going to fall in that same category. But Seth does have a bit of that CM Punk speak his mind attitude, and it certainly helped him elicit the proper heat he needs.
Definitely. And you know what they, if you guys didn't see, it was in 2013, I think it was in July or something, CM Punk tweeted, I don't know if you've seen this, Joe, you probably did. He says that he said something like, I am Seth Rollins from the future. CM Punk. I just thought that was just so funny and awesome that, CM Punk actually sees that Seth has so much of him inside of him, and everyone always says, some people, complain and stuff and say, oh, they're completely different, and they are completely different, but they also have so much alikeness. It's just crazy, and I just love how CM Punk actually seen that in Seth. The
biggest commonality is balls, testicular fortitude. They both know how good they are, and they're not scared to fight for it, whether it's, going to cause heat in the back or whatever it is. And it helped CM Punk, obviously, throughout his career. And it's obviously helped Seth go from being stuck in developmental a few years ago to having a great run with the Shield to now really being the top dog in the Authority and overshadowing Orton and Kane on a consistent basis and really being the leader now of that faction.
Definitely. Let's see. Next, Dolph Ziggler, Usos versus Goldust and Cesaro. Now, it still seems, and also, obviously, Dolph and Usos won, it still seems like Cesaro and Dolph have some very big unfinished business. And it's funny, they flip-flopped, how it was Cesaro and Sheamus, and then Miz and Dolph Ziggler, they flip-flopped this. I'm not sure why they did. It's kind of interesting. But Cesaro still has not gotten pinned by Dolph Ziggler. Cleanly, anyways, because the first time that he did get pinned, he had his hand on the rope. And he's been losing in tag team matches, but he has not been getting pinned by Dolph Ziggler. Like they're obviously Goldust and Stardust are getting pinned and all that. So they definitely have some unfinished business. I definitely I know on Main Event tonight, I think Main Event's tonight, right?
Yeah, it's going on live.
For Network, I think it is. Yeah. I know Dolph Ziggler's supposed to be facing Bo Dallas for the Intercontinental title. And as much as I want to see Bo win, I do want to see Bo win. I love Dolph, but I want to see Bo win. I think, obviously, Mark Henry's going to come out and obviously screw that for Bo Dallas. So it's still going to obviously be Dolph Ziggler versus Cesaro. And I feel like since they're planning, they're like, I don't know, they're kind of showing Cesaro to be stronger now. Like they're not really, killing his momentum. They're like kind of pushing him back again, like how they were, I don't know, like 6 months ago. They're not really, they're still kind of pushing him like how he was supposed to be pushed before obviously getting with Paul Heyman. That kind of killed his momentum. No offense to Paul Heyman. But,
it wasn't Heyman's fault.
Yeah, I feel like Cesaro, they have faith in him now, and I feel like Cesaro will be the one to beat Dolph Ziggler, and this is how I want this outcome to happen, is I want Cesaro to beat him, and then I want Wade Barrett to come and return, and obviously have Cesaro turn face. I feel like this would be a good time to turn him face after this, and then have him and Wade feud.
That would be great. I feel like that's an outstanding idea, because Barrett's clearly more comfortable working heel, although the crowd, he's kind of a likable heel.
He even said to in interviews that he's... Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, he's just a natural. No, it's okay. He's just a natural heel, and Cesaro, it's funny, you haven't seen him do the swing in a while. It's almost like they're saving it for his official face turn, whenever that may be. But he is wearing the King of Swing shirt again, I've noticed, in the back and during, like, post-show interviews that go on YouTube. So they've been calling him the Swiss Superman, not the King of Swing. So, I mean, maybe it's possible. I certainly foresee him possibly winning the IC title out of this. He has never won it. He has been a former United States champion. So it would be a fresh title, and I think that title would do him justice, and I think he would do that title justice. So I'm okay with it. And, hey, if Sheamus is going to lose The Miz or whatever, we'll see what happens with that. But as far as Cesaro goes, love Ziggler, but I think Cesaro stands more to gain for winning the IC title. Even if they don't do it at Hell in the Cell, say they have like a screwy finish, an unclear finish, and then they could kind of build it towards Survivor Series, and Cesaro could win it in Survivor Series. That's how I would do it.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny too because Wade Barrett actually said in interviews how he never wants to be a face. Like, if it was up to him, that he would always want to be a heel. Like, he just says he feels more comfortable, and it's more easier. And that's what's so funny, too, because I've watched a lot of wrestlers' interviews, and they've been asked this question. And even Dean answered this, too. As a heel, they said, what would you rather be? And he said a heel because it's easier to act like, a complete asshole than it is to try to be nice. It just comes almost like, it's not even that they're like assholes in real life, obviously, because I've heard Dean Ambrose is like one of the nicest people, but it's like almost like it's so much easier, and it's just like, it really is, because like I know I would want to be a heel if I was obviously in there. It's just, it comes more naturally, and it would just be more easier to just be an asshole, because you wouldn't have to try to be nice to someone like you don't like, it's just, I don't know, you get what I'm saying though, Joe, right?
Yeah, as someone who has performed in the business for the past 5 years, primarily as heel, I have recently turned babyface, and it actually has been a very beneficial turn. But for the majority of my career, I've been a heel. I've been prone to, I feel like you can color outside the lines more. You don't have to walk a certain, a certain kind of. But I feel like sometimes the best baby faces are heels that become too cool to boo. See Stone Cold Steve Austin. See The Rock. See Triple H in certain times of his run. Even Hogan, when he was in the NWO, he was a heel, but they were cheered because they were so cool. So I feel like, like Steve Austin was the ultimate example. They did the best to make him heel, and the fans were just like, no, like, he's awesome. And I feel like that's what's happened with Ambrose. His character is more heel-ish. He's got that Guerrero, that Pillman, that Austin kind of attitude. But the fans, it's so refreshing that the fans, almost in an attitude era kind of way, are really getting behind Dean. So that's why Dean has kind of been a de facto face, plus how they booked it with Roman getting hurt and Cena and Seth being the big heel. I think a lot of people thought Dean would be the one to turn on the Shield initially because of that fact. But, in the long run, I think Dean will be a heel, and a very good one, and I think he could be a better heel than Roddy Piper in his prime, and that's saying a lot. As Roddy Piper was not a heel for a long, long time, but when he was, he was on fire. So I have and I've seen his work. I know he can do that. Now, I do believe it's best for business to keep him face at the moment. And if you, like I said, if you can get over as a heel and then be so cool to be cheered, you're going to be an even stronger babyface. I think Jericho fits into that as well as a lot of guys, I would say. Edge, in a way, fits into that. That rated R character got so popular, people loved it. And it's all, a lot of it is respect, too. And, Bray Wyatt, I would argue, was kind of on that path before they kind of slowed him a little bit. So that's my thing. I feel like I said, as someone who worked heel, it's so much more fun to work heel. It's so much more like you can just, with the exception of spitting at the fans or like making physical contact with the fans, you really have liberty to say and do whatever you want. And here's some advice for young up and coming heels out there. The best heels always, and this comes from Ric Flair and others, the best heels always believe what they say. You know what I mean? It adds that, and I think you can see that in Seth. You saw that in CM Punk, especially when he was with the Straight Edge Society. So, you know what I mean? It elicits that more anger. I saw that, I think, with Triple H when he was that big mean heel in the late 90s. So, it's more fun, personally. And I've also found that sometimes the biggest baby faces on camera, Hulk Hogan, for example, Shawn Michaels, another example, even Bret Hart, sometimes are the biggest jerks behind the scenes, and vice versa. Guys like Roddy Piper, guys like Dean Ambrose, Jake Roberts, natural heels, but good guys behind the scenes. And there's always your in-between. Is always a gray area. But I found that to be the case, and I've always found it to be interesting. It's like the guys who want the attention, they clamor for that attention. They clamor to be loved, and sometimes, that comes from a certain insecurity where you got to be comfortable in your skin to want people to hate you. And I think that gives rise to what I'm saying with heels sometimes being better, morally driven individuals behind the scenes.
Definitely. Alrighty. This segment, it was just bad. Adam Rose and the Rosebuds, it pretty much, I don't know what this was, pretty much the Today hosts pretty much were partying with Adam Rose and the Rosebuds. It was just some crazy segment. I don't know if it was just supposed to be for the kids or what. It was bad. It wasn't even funny. It was actually, I guess they were supposed to, talk about, the breast cancer stuff, but they didn't get around to it and whatever, and it just turned bad, and the whole thing was bad. Now Adam Rose, and I know Joe's seen my recent status last week about this. I used to like Adam Rose, and I used to have faith in him. I used to think he was funny, and he used to, think he was talented. And now it's just getting to the point where every single time I hear his music, I want to turn off the TV. And it's bad because I used to always stick up for him when people said that, how horrible he was. And it's just I can definitely see their pain now. He's getting just so boring, and it's just they're using him. It's like how they're using Hogan. They're using him just to, do certain stuff, promote people, like the Today people, just to show them, it's just random stuff that they're just promoting for him because they don't know what they're doing for him, and they also don't want to send him back to NXT because it's just then who's going to obviously do our little thing if we have little segments that we have to use him for, because that's what they're using him for, because, if Hogan obviously can't show up there, Adam Rose is obviously going to be their guy to do this because he's fun for the kids and he's entertaining and all that, and he's not entertaining, but they think he is. It's bad. It's gotten to a point where they need to just get rid of him. Just do something. I don't even know. It's I don't even know what they could do with him at this time except for wipe the whole character clean and start over, because it's almost like it's too late for them to do with a heel turn or anything else like that, because I don't think that's even going to help, because the character needs to be wiped clean, though. That's all I got to say about that.
And they really made no reference to the bunny this week, even though the bunny was out there, and they've been pushing the bunny down in the throat since this big reveal storyline for weeks now. So that has little continuity as well. I will say the one thing I liked about this segment, I like the robes that Kathleen and Hoda were wearing. And I'm going to say this, though, not every celebrity should be a guest host on Raw. You saw as well Adam Rose with Kevin Hart last month. I like Kevin Hart, very funny comedian. Didn't seem like he liked wrestling. Didn't really come off that as all with his like approach to it. Like you could tell certain guys like Mike Tyson is a wrestling fan. Other guy, Donald Trump is a wrestling fan. You know what I mean? Mark Cuban is a wrestling fan. But like people like Kathy Lee and Hoda, I mean, I know Cena was on their show, so it was kind of a, co-promotion with Cena being on their show earlier in the day, and then they come on Raw. And, it was awkward. It was funny. They got a very strong boo from the Brooklyn crowd in the Barclays Arena, and at the point where Hoda was like, turn the music up, I felt like that was an improv move to drown out the boos. I really do. And then they did the trust fall thing, and Kathy Lee it's all awkward, doesn't even trust falling into 10 wrestlers that can catch her old ass. So it was bad. It was really bad. There was really no benefit for having them on the show. And, we saw it with Florida Georgia Line a few weeks ago. Maybe when they performed a few months ago, they were okay, but having them on commentary was just stupid. They even botched the announcement of them coming on the Troops, miscalling the Tribute of the Troops show. It was like when someone called Summer Jam, when Mike Adamle called Summer Jam Summerfest back in the day. Like, it was that egregious of a botch. So, I mean, and with Adam Rose, I would wipe the slate clean. I would send him back to NXT. I would rework the character, give him the Ryback, Curtis Axel, Bray Wyatt treatment, and maybe channel into his Leo Kruger indie character, because it doesn't even seem like he's having fun with this character. When's the last time you seen that guy smile? I mean, Santino fit that mold of, like, the comedy character because he was funny, and he actually had fun doing it. Zack Ryder could fit that role. Slater Gator could fit that role. But I just don't feel that Adam Rose is very strong in this role at this point, and it's just doing more harm than good. I think Bo Dallas has significantly grown, and now they're kind of pushing him again, getting 3 straight victories over Mark Henry. That's great. And I think Bo's here to stay. Maybe there's going to be some tweaking with Bo, but Bo's here to stay. He's not going to get sent back down. Where with Leo Kruger, and there's just so many guys that, like, you got Tyson Kidd. It looks like he's called up. I know we'll get to that soon. It looks like he's back on the main roster, which I'm glad. He deserves to be. You know what I mean? You got Kenta and Devitt already made their debuts. Steen's next. So it's getting crowded in NXT. It's not like they have room to bring guys who are toiling on the main roster back down for retooling. I think that's what they meant with Cameron when she talked about that on Total Divas not too long ago. So Adam Rose is in a tough place right now. Vince McMahon is not a fan of his gimmick. I know that for a fact. And, if Hunter gets bored with this, I feel like they don't want to give up on these characters. If you look at certain points in the mid-2000s where characters like Mordecai, like Sean O'Hare, we talked about him a lot recently, and his Devil's Advocate character. I could go on and on with these characters who it looks like, Nathan Jones, Matt Morgan when he was in WWE before his TNA run. A lot of guys who they pushed early and then for whatever rhyme or reason just lost complete interest in and we never heard from again. It does seem like Triple H wants to give these guys a chance, and that's great. That's great that they're not gonna, say, for example, the first couple times Bray Wyatt didn't get a great reaction, maybe Vince would have parted ways with Bray Wyatt had it been 10 years ago. But because Triple H is there, you're not seeing that now. And that's great. But with Adam Rose, it's just he's taking up a roster spot that Sami Zayn or Tyson Kidd or one of these guys who are Justin Gabriel, one of these guys from NXT that belong on the main roster at this point deserve. And at this point, I don't advocate people getting releases because I don't like people losing their jobs in the business, and TNA's in shambles. Who knows where Rose would even work with the exception of the Indies in Japan. And I don't even know if he'd work Japan with his style. So it's very tough. And, but at the same time, I just don't see where there's any more room for growth with this character. And if they're going to drop the bunny angle, then this character's really dead in the water. Because sadly, sad to say, that bunny angle was the only thing still generating interest, even though I hate to admit that.
Yeah, Darren Young is going to save him. It really is. I think the Darren Young identity, which they need to do soon.
Yep.
I mean, I think Darren Young's ready to come back. They said 6 months, and when was it when he got hurt? I think it was what, January or February. So he's definitely ready. It's been like 8 months.
He's definitely ready. It's pull the trigger, no more Bunny, have him be the big reveal, give him, you know, I know they're going to give him this Rosebuddy kind of really glittery, I guess you could say, gimmick. I had this feeling that, like, you know, because he's homosexual and he's openly gay.
Oh, horrible.
I'm worried about it, I'm not going to lie. I hope it's good, but not what they tried to do with Chris Kanyon when they turned him into Boy George. Ugh.
And I love Darren Young too. I always liked him. Ever since he was in the Primetime Players, I've liked him. So it makes me sad.
I liked him ever since he had the troll haircut and he was CM Punk's lackey on NXT Season 1.
Oh, yep. I remember that too. Yep.
And I thought he was a very good part of the Nexus too. I thought he was one of the guys I enjoyed of the Nexus.
Yeah, and they I remember when John Cena was making fun of all the Nexus members. And he said that he was his twin, his black twin. It was so funny.
Oh, yeah, he is the black twin. Absolutely.
So funny. I guess we can talk about both promos because this is going to be a big segment and it's probably going to take about 20 minutes. I did talk about this. This was my big segment for the video I did a few days ago, and I talked about it for like 30 minutes. But I know you have a lot to say about it too. So we'll do both segments. We'll do both promos right now, even though I know one happened later. But Bray Wyatt does 2 promos tonight. One on Luke Harper and one on Eric Rowan. And now how I said, like, obviously the video I did a few days ago that I have been hearing rumors that they're finally going to split up the Wyatts. And I talked about how I didn't know they were going to go about this. And that's why they're planning for something big. That's why they're doing these promos, and Bray Wyatt has not been on the show because it's going to be big. Whatever they're planning for, it's going to be big. And me and Chris Sterling actually talked about this a little bit today too. And he thinks, I guess he's been hearing stuff that they're going to, the Ascension is going to take the place of Luke Harper and Eric Rowan and be with Bray Wyatt.
I
thought that was really interesting. Yeah. And I'm glad the thing with Eric Rowan, Eric Rowan is, I talked about how he's not a good talker, and like I said, I haven't really seen much of his earlier stuff before the WWE, but I really don't think he's that strong in the ring either, and that's why I think he needs Luke Harper to carry him. And so if Luke Harper and Eric Rowan both, drop Bray Wyatt and obviously have the Ascension come in, I think that could be good because Luke Harper obviously can be kind of almost like obviously in charge, and it can be obviously giving him more time to talk, which is good because Luke Harper is a good talker. He's a very good talker. And Eric Rowan, he's kind of like his sidekick almost. I mean, no, I'm not trying to like totally trash Eric Rowan down right now, but I just don't see how they can make Eric Rowan a singles and have him be very successful. Because I feel like if they don't put Eric Rowan with Luke Harper, it's going to turn bad for Eric Rowan. Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt are completely fine on their own. They can completely take it. Both can talk, both can wrestle, both strong. Eric Rowan, I feel like they might try to push him in the beginning and then like totally kill his momentum and then him becoming either a very, very low mid-carder or a jobber. And that's what I see with that. But Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper, obviously, both can be main eventers. They're both, and it's funny too because I compared them with the Shield, but I said, like all 3 Shield members obviously are main eventers, but only 2 of the Wyatts are main eventers, and Eric Rowan falls way short. So I do hope that Luke Harper and Eric Rowan stay together. Because then Luke Harper, like I told them before you dropped out, Luke Harper can obviously have his time to talk and get more time to talk on the mic, obviously, because he's strong. And Eric Rowan can kind of be just like his, I don't know. He obviously he needs Luke Harper obviously to stay relevant. And I know that sounds mean, but it's the truth. Because if they split all three of them up right now, Eric Rowan is not going to make it, and that is the truth. But it was kind of funny because in Bray Wyatt's second promo, they showed a picture or a video of a girl who looked like she was pregnant, and they said, I think it said it's coming on her stomach. So they pretty much, what I got from that is a new birth is coming. And so when Chris Sterling told me that the Ascension, he's been hearing about the Ascension, I was kind of like, wait a minute, maybe that is true. Maybe the Ascension is going to join Bray Wyatt because they are a new birth, and they haven't, they made their debut, but then they just kind of like, we haven't seen them. So obviously they're going to make their debut with the Bray Wyatt, and that's probably why this is going to be so big and why they haven't obviously shown them on TV, because when they return, the Ascension will be with them and blah, 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 and whatever they want to do with Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. There was another possibility with Luke Harper and Eric Rowan turning on Bray Wyatt and having Bray Wyatt turn face. But, like I said this in the video, Bray Wyatt can be face. He doesn't have to change his complete character or anything like that. He might have to tweak it a little bit, but he can still be creepy. He can still, have his beliefs, still talk in that same promo and everything like that. And Joe, your mic's not working. And but he can still do all this stuff, but he just can't. I guess he can't be as. He's gonna have to tweak it. Like, the whole heelish gimmick is not going to work, obviously, for a face, but his character can still work for a face. And that's pretty much what I mean about that. But I did think that it was interesting with the birth. I do love this whole thing. Whether the Ascension does join Bray Wyatt, that would be great too, because the Ascension, I kind of like that just the Ascension alone. But if they obviously put them with Bray Wyatt, they can obviously start off strong in the beginning, just like the Shield. But Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, I'm not sure where they're going to fall in this. Luke Harper will be fine alone. But Eric Rowan, not really sure. But I do like this whole idea of them obviously starting to split up. It's kind of getting almost like they need a new feud. Something big needs to happen, because they kind of ran out of feuds to deal with, like the big guys, main eventer guys, other than Roman and Dean, and they're both busy doing something else. Obviously Roman's still out, and Dean's obviously busy with Seth. So this would be the time to do something, and that's obviously what creative was thinking, like, okay, we need to do something, whether it's turn Bray Wyatt face or have the Ascension join him. Both would be great. I would like to see Bray Wyatt as a face, just to kind of see how, because a lot of people are saying, that his character can't work as a face, and I want to prove them wrong, that his character will be fine as a face. He just has to tweak a few things, but he can definitely work as a face, and I would love to see a Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper feud.
If you look at, oh yeah, that would be great. Sorry to cut you off. If you look at creepy anonymous characters like Undertaker, for example, was that guy not a babyface for the past 15 years? Last time he was heel was in the Ministry in the mid-90s, unless you count some of the biker taker stuff. But even that, he was so respected that people didn't boo him. Sting, Crow Sting, very dark anonymous character, WCW's top babyface of 1998. Raven worked as a tweener a lot, creepy character. So it certainly can be done. There's no reason why he can't be a face and still keep his same aura, if not add to his aura. Now, you got to look at the simple math of, you got Dean and Cena, obviously, as kind of your two top baby faces at the moment. Roman's going to come back, and Daniel Bryan's going to come back. And Randy Orton may turn face. So there's 5 top baby faces right there. That's not including Dolph Ziggler, what they do with Cesaro. So there's a lot of pieces on the table here. I feel like it would freshen Bray Wyatt up, this idea with the Ascension, and it would give the Ascension something meaningful to do right off the bat and make their debut very meaningful. Now, as for Eric Rowan and Luke Harper, I agree and disagree in what you're saying. I agree in that, yeah, you're right. Eric Rowan may have no legs to stand on, but you know what? I hate to sound harsh, but that's Eric Rowan's problem. I want to see Luke Harper singles. I think that's best for business. We've seen Luke Harper primarily in a tag ever since NXT. And I feel like now is the time that Luke Harper needs to show. I mean, he's had great matches with Jericho, among others. He's ready for that single spotlight. And, you know, with Eric Rowan, with Eric Rowan, I've compared him to Luke Gallows in the past with that Festus character, and then he ended up making the Luke Gallows thing work, and now look at him now. He's one of the main members of the Bullet Club and making good money on the independents. So you never say never. I wouldn't draft Eric Rowan in my wrestling fantasy team as a breakout star in the next year or two, but I guess anything's possible. The guy can move for a big guy, but the thing is, I feel like he makes a good bodyguard type character. Like maybe for a guy like Tyson Kidd, who's now back on the main roster, and it's the second time I'm bringing him up, maybe he could be like a bodyguard for Tyson Kidd with this heel fact character or something like that. That I think you could get some legs out of, but him being just a singular entity, I don't think he needs Luke necessarily, but I think he at least needs to be, you know, like a heel bodyguard for someone. I don't think he can make it on his own. And I hate saying that about people. Like, I've been wrong in the past. So I hope he proves me wrong, but we shall see.
It's funny, too, because when you were having difficulties, that's exactly what I compared him to. I said he's kind of like a sidekick. I see him as a sidekick, bodyguard kind of thing. And it's funny because Tyson actually had a bodyguard.
Yeah.
Like what was it, like 2010 or something like that?
Was it Mason Ryan or wasn't it? Oh, it was someone different. It was like this big guy who wasn't Mason Ryan. And then he got pulled back down and we never saw him again.
Yeah, it was crazy. And it was my brother compared them to obviously Shawn Michaels and Diesel. It was pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like and I'll talk about the whole Tyson Kidd later, but yeah, I definitely, and no offense to Eric Rowan, I'm not crazy about him. I don't really see much of him other than he needs, and he can be a great tag team partner, but the singles are just not for him unless he wants to, you know. And I mean, if they do something for him, like if they do something that works for him, maybe he can be a good singles wrestler. They have to make it work. They have to really think about it if they really want him to be a singles. They have to really think about this.
I think you'd have to ditch the beard and the jumpsuit first of all and have a completely new look. That'd be number one.
Definitely. But, yeah, we'll see. I don't know about this whole thing, but, yeah, I definitely like it. I definitely, we'll see where all three of them go, and we'll see. I'm thinking probably another month of promos.
Yeah.
Because it seems like this, whatever they're going to do with this is going to be big. And to make it big, they're going to make us wait. And I know it's probably going to kill people, but it's going to be a little bit of a wait. It's going to be, if it's going to be as big as what, you know, the spoilers and everything are saying, it's going to be big and they're going to have us wait. I definitely don't see this until maybe Survivor Series.
Yeah, and you mentioned Survivor Series. That's the perfect venue. You could have a 4-on-4 tag match or a 3-on-3 tag match, which features, you know, maybe the Ascension and Bray versus Luke, Eric, and another heel or another. You know, they can figure it out, and it would be cool. But you know, if they rush it, then, and that goes in all walks of business and life. If you rush it, you're gonna have rushed results. I don't mind them. You mentioned it. They wrestled everybody on the roster. It got to the point where they were working Los Matadors. So this is now needed to freshen it up. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, and patience. I don't have very good patience, but you know what? Being patient will pay off. Definitely, it will.
My dad always says, "Your patience is perfect, please."
Alrighty, Bo Dallas versus Mark Henry, and this is their third match. And obviously Bo Dallas wins for a countout. Mark Henry is definitely going to be turning heel very, very soon. I actually feel like because Bo Dallas was obviously very upset when he got to the ring, I almost feel like this, if they continue doing this feud, I feel like Bo Dallas should almost turn face
Yeah.
and get some sympathy from the audience. And then Mark Henry, if Mark Henry's, going to be this massive heel, because Bo Dallas is funny as a face or a heel, he can still keep this gimmick. I mean, I kind of compared him as still a face anyways. I mean, he does still kind of have this heelish thing because he'll, go after faces and make fun of them and say, oh, you lost and that was your fault. But he's like a very cheerful, smiley guy, so I don't know. I feel like this could work for him, and I feel like the whole face thing could work for him if Mark Henry turns heel. And Bo Dallas, he's been face probably since he's won the NXT, or he's been heel since almost like a month or two after he won the NXT title or something like that.
That gimmick was created after him winning the NXT championship.
Yeah.
That's when the Bo leaving started, and the gimmick started growing from there. And WWE put their own little tweaks on it when they debuted with the weird music and Tony Robbins music and everything. But like I said, Bo Dallas has stood the test of time. I think whether it's face or heel, Bo Dallas has a spot on the main roster, and I like this storyline. I think this is different. Mark Henry as a heel, you might as well do it at this point. I know I've been hard on Mark Henry and Big Show as of late, but at least they're involved in storylines that's benefiting the younger talent, and I will say that on the record.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Bo Dallas, so I definitely, and it's funny too. I don't know if I ever said this, but I could not stand him when he was in NXT, even as a face. Like, I could not stand him. I thought he was obnoxious. I was like, I can't believe that I love his older brother and I can't stand him. Like, it's so funny because they're two completely different people and two completely different characters. And it's just, I don't know. I feel like after he debuted, he kind of, on WWE, his character kind of just, I don't know. I've seen more of his matches and I've seen his more talent. And I also want to talk about this too. I know a lot of people, I've been reading on the internet, a lot of people do not think Bo Dallas is talented. They say that he only has one move and stuff like that. And it's just like, that's not really fair to say because all of his matches have been really short. Like, he wins very quickly, so he hasn't really had too much of a chance to really show his real talent yet. So that's not really fair to say this early in his career that he's not talented, because he is talented. If you watch some of his older stuff in NXT, you could see that he's talented. And I mean, yes, his character is kind of almost, I don't know, I feel like it's almost like you have to love it because it's just so obnoxious and it's just so, I just started laughing as soon as I seen it and how he, does his laps around the ring. It's hard not to like his character because it's just so funny and it's different. It's completely different than what they've ever done before, and it works for him. So yeah, I'm really cheering for Bo Dallas. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I'm definitely a believer.
All the non-believers can suck it. He reminds me of young Chris Jericho when Jericho shed the Lionheart label at WCW and started becoming the whiny, crybaby heel. And I think he's got a lot of potential. Like you said, people are saying he's got one move. But guess what? Stone Cold Steve Austin practically had one move. He had to get a pretty good career, did he not? I mean, people get too hung up on that. It's all about what you can do to elicit a connection with the fans. And whether people like Bo Dallas or hate him, they're at least not indifferent about him. They have an opinion, and there's a connection there. And that's a lot more than I can say about half the guys on the current roster.
Definitely. Alrighty. Dean Ambrose comes.
Did Haley freeze? Dean Ambrose comes back out, cuts a promo. It looks like we lost Haley there. Cuts a promo, hits some great marks with his promo. Cena comes out. you know, they essentially say, you don't want me to not like you, or you don't want me to not like you. And essentially what this promo accomplished is, looks like he screened for.
Sorry about that. My thing completely froze. I don't know what the heck was going on there. Okay, so pretty much Dean Ambrose, he comes out and he talks about how I'll send this to Joe. I don't know if oh, there he is. He's right there. Dean pretty much talks about how something's been bothering him, and he can't like stand for it anymore. And he talks about how John Cena left him on SmackDown, and that he didn't like it, obviously. And he says that he wants him to come out, and he pretty much talks about how I told you not to give me a reason not to like you. Well, it's really hard when you do shit like that. And Cena comes out and he pretty much says, well, Dean, you would have done the same thing because it was Seth, obviously, and you said you would do anything to get your hands on him. And so you would have done the same thing. So you obviously understand where I was coming from. And so John Cena starts leaving the ring. And Dean agrees with him and says, you know, you're right. I would have done that because I don't give a crap about you. And it's just so funny because Dean, it's just kind of like how you say, John Cena, obviously, even though John Cena's a face, he hates John Cena's guts, but he's still considered a face. And it's just so funny because he's got that character where it's almost like he is a heel, but he's not because the fans are so behind him and because he's facing, obviously, the top heel, I think, right now in the business, Seth Rollins. So it's funny how he gets all this love for some of the stuff he does. Well, and people don't like Cena either, so I guess that helps him a lot, too.
Yeah.
But, John imitates him and says pretty much like, oh, don't give me a reason not to like you, and, you know. And Dean pretty much gets fed up with John Cena talking. He goes, you know what? I'm kind of hungry. I think I'm going to go get myself a hot dog from Coney Island. And he leaves the ring, and he says, good luck tonight. So, obviously, John Cena's on his own for the main event. He goes, and they show him backstage. And he goes down into the subway, and he gets on the subway, and he leaves pretty much. And then John Cena and Triple H are backstage. And Triple H goes, oh, you know, Dean left you, so I guess it's going to be a 3-on-1 now. And unless you want to just give up, you know. And John Cena goes, I don't care how many people I'm facing. He goes, Seth is not going to run away this time. And Triple H says, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll have Seth Rollins start the match so you know it's fair for you and so you can get your hands on him. And I thought this was so funny. I knew it was going to happen, but but he pretty much says, yeah, Seth is going to start off the match off, and that was pretty much that. This whole segment was hilarious, though. It's pretty much like what you said, though. I mean, Dean's character is just, the fans love him, but he gives all this crap to Cena, and he attacks him all the time and says he doesn't like him. And, I mean, Cena's like their top face, or he's supposed to be their top face. He's not really, I don't feel like he's their top face anymore. I feel like that's obviously Roman or Dean. But, yeah, it's pretty funny, though. The segment was very good. I like how Dean, and this is kind of like how it needs to start being, you know. Two faces don't have to like each other. They can hate each other like these two. And that's why I like this whole kind of feud, because they're doing something different than what they actually usually do. You know, they always say, oh, faces are supposed to like faces and heels are supposed to like heels because, you know, blah, blah, blah. But it's really, especially the faces, and it's really interesting how these two can just like hate each other, and I love it. It's so different, and I think that's why the fans love it too, and that's why I'm so happy that these two are going to have a face versus face match. And if they start doing this more often, they can have a lot of different variety of matches. They don't have to have the same matches all the time because they never, you know, turn anybody heel or face. They turn probably someone heel or face every, like 6 months, 4 to 6 months. which doesn't seem like very much to me. But yeah, it's just I feel like this is what they need to look at and think about for the near future, and just be like, well, you know what? If the fans like it, I feel like maybe we should, especially with Dean's character, like have him hate, well, he can't hate Roman because they're still best friends considered, but on the show. But it's still, I mean, they can start doing this, and it's nothing. It's not like illegal. They act like it's going to be like illegal for them to do this because a heel versus face is supposed to be their typical match. They can't have a heel versus heel or a face versus face, and I just think that's so stupid. So that's why I'm actually really for the John Cena versus Dean at Hell in a Cell. I'm really happy with that.
Oh yeah, it's a fresh matchup, and you look at some of the most successful matchups. Oh, my mic's off. Are you serious?
Yeah, your mic's off again. Sorry about the technical difficulties, guys. But yeah, I really love this. Dean's character is just so great for face or heels, and the fans are so behind it. And obviously, I mean, some of it might be because of obviously John Cena then hating, but Dean is a very popular wrestler. He's not just like some random person that people didn't feel for. I mean, he has a lot of fans. So yes, some of it might be because of the John Cena hate. But Dean, he's an overall, the people love him, and that's why they get behind him. Joe?
Oh yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Are we good? All right, good. Like I said, to me, Steve Austin comes to mind, and you look at those matchups with Austin and Rocks, like you look at how Austin and McFoley, even Rock and McFoley. It's fine to have your top stars go against each other. That's what people want to see: top stars against top stars, whether it's face, heel. As long as it's a drawing top star versus top star, that's what people want to see. And if you look at CM Punk and John Cena a couple years ago, that was a great rivalry. That was kind of face versus face until they turned Punk heel. But even then, the crowd kind of was behind Punk for most of those matches. Daniel Bryan versus Punk, and that would have been great if they pushed it, although Punk wanted to be heel if they did do that for WrestleMania. But the fact of the matter is they get chicken shit, and I've talked about this with the moving the Cena segment to Monday Night Football halftime and other things recently. They get chicken shit to do certain things. Like, when the fans get behind it, the fans get behind it. I remember when Eddie and Chavo started the lie, cheat, and steal gimmick. That was designed to be heelish. And after they filmed the first set of vignettes, it was babyface. I remember Mick Foley started doing his promos talking about how he was Dude Love growing up. And Steve Austin actually told Mick Foley, "You going babyface, kid?" And Mick was like, "Nah, we're just trying to add to my character." And Austin's like, "You'll be babyface in 2 weeks." And lo and behold, that's what happened. Like, sometimes people just get behind you, and that's what's happening with Dean. It reminds me a lot, like I said, of Eddie Guerrero. And Eddie Guerrero wrote it all the way to beating Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. So, hey, maybe history can repeat itself.
Yeah, definitely. Overall, very good segment. I really like how this whole John Cena and Dean thing are going down. It's definitely awesome.
Yeah, it's been great for Dean. It's been great for Seth.
Summer Rae versus Brie Bella, and Brie Bella had her hand tied behind her back. Pretty much what they're doing is obviously Brie Bella's winning all the matches that Nikki Bella lost. The handicapped, the hand behind the back, tied behind the back. Pretty much to show that Brie Bella is better than Nikki Bella.
Brie mode!
And I know I'm not being biased here, but even though I believe that, but that's pretty much what they're showing, is that they're trying to make, obviously, Brie Bella look better than Nikki Bella, so Nikki Bella can obviously get pissed and be like, "Oh, you're not better than me," blah, blah. But Brie obviously wins again. Brie's winning all these matches, and it's funny, they were supposed to fight at Hell in a Cell. I mean, I know we still have like 3 more weeks to make this match, but I feel like they need to pick up the pace. I feel like it's not going to happen until Survivor Series now, but it's just like there's only so much more they can do with this. Like, what are they going to do? I mean, unless they have, John Cena. I mean, the only thing that they could do is have John Cena and Daniel Bryan in this. And Daniel Bryan's out right now still, and John Cena's doing his own thing with Seth and Dean. So obviously,
I meant to say something earlier, and I'm going to bring this up now because it makes sense to bring it up now. Aren't they doing the same thing to John Cena that they did to Nikki Bella? Putting him in handicap matches, Triple H having a little speech with John. Oh, yeah, John, you always rise above hate. You always rise to the occasion, blah, blah, blah. So they're kind of setting the stage where maybe, just maybe, they could make the connection with John and Nikki. Like, they acknowledge everything else from Total Divas, from Tyson and Natalya to friggin' Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella, to Brie Bella using her friggin' injured husband's chant to get over. But, to me, that would be a logical thing. And again, Cena turning heel, is it ever going to happen? Who knows? I feel like we talk about it every week, and it becomes kind of almost sickening to talk about it all the time. But, it wouldn't be bad, like, if they kind of, explore some of the same avenues that they did with Nikki and start connecting the dots at least with John. And maybe you can come to John, having a breakup with Nikki on the anything can happen out of it. But, to me, that's the one thing from Total Divas that they don't acknowledge on TV is John and Nikki's connection. And now they're doing to John what they did to Nikki with 3-on-1s and all this stuff. So it'll be interesting to see if they make those connections within the next few months. I'll be listening. But overall, Brie mode equals go take a pee mode. She does better when she doesn't have a microphone in her hand and she can actually wrestle. And the knee to finish was pretty good. The little running knee to finish. It wasn't bad. It was a good spot. But, overall, there's just so much other stuff with the Divas I'm into. And I can't wait for this feud to be over, quite frankly.
It's funny, they were supposed to have Nikki and Seth together. That was like the rumor going around for like a few weeks. They were supposed to have her obviously in the Authority, and they were supposed to have her. But in order for that to happen, she would have had to obviously win the Divas title and then have him win the WWE title. So I don't know. I feel like that angle's squashed now, but he doesn't need Nikki Bella anyways. It'll just drag him down.
I don't as much as I'm more of a Nikki fan than Brie fan. John Cena don't need no Nikki Bella holding him down. Come on now. I agree with that. The man was already married. She presses him into marriage. She forgets the man was already married for almost 10 years. Get off his case. God.
Yeah, I can't believe he never had any kids from her. That too. That's crazy.
Him and Beth. Yeah, huh? Who knows what happened, the whole backstory with that.
Yeah. But, yeah, yeah, I don't know. They do need to end this, though, because it's just not good. It would have been good if they would have had Daniel Bryan and John Cena in it. That's the only time it would have been good. It would have been great if they would have done that. They needed to plan it before.
Yep, that dream mixed tag match of Daniel and Brie versus Nikki and John could have been big money. Could have main evented a pay-per-view. No doubt in my mind. And it could still happen. I'm not saying it won't happen. It could still happen.
Yep. Miz, Damian, and Kane backstage. Miz gives him a fruit basket to the Authority, says that he's sorry and everything like that. And Kane says, that he's pretty much full of crap, and that he makes Miz versus Sheamus match later on for the night. And it's so funny that they just completely flip-flopped the U.S. and the Intercontinental in like a week. It was just so funny how they're doing that now. And Miz gets upset, and he takes his fruit basket back. It's pretty funny.
Well, Sandow grabbed it back. That was great. With the little...
And that's another person who could be doing this entertaining thing is Miz and
Damien Sandow.
Yeah, exactly. It's just stupid, and even Triple H even said that they were hilarious. But yeah, it's just, I don't even know.
Feel like this is building towards a face turn with Miz and Sandow. I mean, and maybe a possible heel turn with Sheamus. And I've said, I think Sheamus...
I love that, actually.
I think he should be corporate Sheamus. It would be freshen up his character. And Randy's probably going to leave the Authority from all accounts. So they're going to have a hole. So you plug in Sheamus, Kane, and Rollins. I could deal with that as a tag team.
Interesting idea.
I could deal with it.
I'm not against it. If it makes Sheamus turn heel, I'm for it. I'm definitely for it because he needs a heel turn.
Public knowledge that Sheamus is friends with Triple H. That's public knowledge with it. That's almost as public as Triple H and Stephanie's marriage. Everybody knows that. And
wait, I didn't know that Sheamus and Triple H are really good friends.
Triple H got Sheamus a job. Triple H used to be
I
gym
did not
buddies with
know that. Am I the only one that did not know that? I feel stupid. I seriously did not know this.
Triple H got Sheamus a job, and then with FCW, he was actually toiling for FCW for a long time, trying to find that Sheamus O'Shaughnessy character. He started getting over. They brought him up in the ECW, had some good matches with Christian and Goldust, which ended up finding him on the main roster with him winning the WWE title quite quickly in that kibosh tag.
Maybe that's why, yeah, probably. I knew it was something because they did push him a little too fast.
Before he got into wrestling, he was actually Bono's personal bodyguard, the guy from U2, Bono. Sheamus was, and he was a stunt actor in Ireland as well. And Triple H got him a job. So, yeah, they're real tight friends, and they could build off that chemistry in Authority.
Yeah, definitely. I did not know that. I can't believe I didn't know that. Maybe I was the only person that did not know that.
That's why when they were talking about Sheamus with Evolution, at least that connection would have made sense, even though it wouldn't have made sense from a certain element.
Yeah.
But, yeah, my girlfriend was saying that, too. That was a Kayla suggestion. She signs off on Corporate Sheamus. Corporate Sheamus equals best for business. That's what I'm advocating.
Tyson Kidd versus Jack Swagger. I noticed Tyson Kidd, the headphones are, me and my brother noticed, is that like part of his new ring gear? The headphones? I've noticed he's been wearing those for the past like few weeks, so I guess that's part of his new ring attire now. But Jack Swagger wins, which he needed to. I like Tyson Kidd, but Jack Swagger I feel like needed this more. Because Jack Swagger, they're not doing anything with him again. Oh, God, it drives me nuts. It's just like the fans are behind him now that he has a face turn. It's just like you're going to make a guy face and then just it's not good. You know?
No, it's lack of continuity. Yeah, and it's like these guys lose to Rusev, and it's like they don't even care that Rusev's still disrespecting America after they lose, whether it's Mark Henry or you know, what have you, Jack Swagger. Overall, I'm glad that Tyson Kidd's back on the main roster. I will say that. I'm a fan of his work. Always been a fan going back to the Hart Dynasty, even before that when he debuted on ECW. And he's a very talented worker. He's one of those guys that even the workers in the back will be like, you know, put him in the Dolph Ziggler category of why isn't he not getting more opportunity. Now they got the storyline with him and Natty, and they're going to correlate it with Total Divas, and it's good. And as I said, with Kenta, Devitt, Steen, among others, making their debuts for NXT, the landscape is changing, and there's only so much room. So it's perfect sense for Tyson Kidd to now be a fixture on the main roster now, especially that he's got this backed gimmick, and you know, he's got the tension with him and Natty. It's very good. You know, it's the best they could have figured out for Tyson Kidd at the moment.
Yeah, he had his last chance at the title with Adrian Neville last week, I think it was, and he lost. So I think he's completely done with NXT. I feel like that was like the end. As for Natty, she has to turn heel. Because if she doesn't, they're going to do a fake divorce. And we know that's going to be a lie. So that's not going to happen. So that's the only thing, because I Tyson Kidd turning face anytime soon. So the only thing I can see coming out of this that would be good too. I think Natalya really needs a heel turn. I think that would be so great for her character. And you know, I feel like they would give her the Divas title when she turns heel. I really do. And title, you know, that would be great. I'm for it, definitely.
I actually feel like watching Total Divas, it almost makes Natty a heel on that show. And I think everybody thought when that show came out, Natty would be the sympathetic figure. But no, she comes off catty, and she's got her own political bullshit going on with her, and like all of that. So yeah, no, I mean, I think that would be an interesting payoff that like make everyone think they're gonna get divorced and then have her turn heel. That's a brilliant way to end that storyline. Props, Haley. I gotta tip my cap to that one.
I mean, that's the only way I can see it, though. I mean, I feel like it's crazy because they can't do anything else. What are they going to do? Like, I mean, it's just like he's heel and she's face. I mean, there's not much, and they're married. I mean, there's not much you can do to that, you know?
And look, the only time she's ever been heel really was when she tagged with Beth Phoenix when they had that like Sisters of Destruction thing going on. She's never really been a full-fledged heel, and it would be interesting to if she feelings of being frustrated with the business and being passed over time and time again, and put that in the heel gimmick, which is kind of what Tyson Kidd's already done when you think about it. I think it'd be great. It could be very compelling if they go that route, and it would freshen up Natty, because right now Natty could use some freshening up.
Yeah,
as creative as she is.
Definitely, it would be good for both of them. Definitely.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah. Roman Reigns interview. He pretty much says that he's better and that he's gonna come back sooner rather than later.
Yep.
I have a feeling that he might return at Hell in a Cell, maybe. Maybe if Dean's kind of like showing, I don't know, like if John Cena's like taken out or whatever, and if obviously the Authority is gaining up on Dean and everything, I feel like he might return. Like, do you think that would be a little too soon?
I actually am thinking Rumble with Roman. I know you've read reports that he's healing up quickly and everything, but if I were them, I'd have him and Bryan both be prizes. Huh?
I would too. The Royal Rumble thing sounds so much better because then he can be the surprise return, and Daniel Bryan's probably going to be a surprise return too. So it
a lot of compellingness, because then you could have two surprise returns, which would both be logical guys to win the Royal Rumble. Daniel Bryan never got his rematch at the world title. Roman Reigns the next guy, and I know the Shield guys might be in there at the end too with Dean and Seth, and that'd be great. If the final four is Daniel Bryan, Dean, Seth, Roman Reigns, it's gonna be a hell of a Royal Rumble.
Yeah, that was supposed to be the rumors. Is Dean, Seth, and Roman at the very end, which I find very interesting.
The fans are gonna get butthurt if he's at least not in the final four. We know how passionate Daniel Bryan fans react. We do know that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Hornswoggle versus El Torito. This is like what, the sixth match they've had, and Hornswoggle's only won one, I think, so far.
Usually
not even
the week, but I don't have that stat on me. That's interesting.
I think he's only won one.
I want to ask you a question. I know you're a huge Slater Gator, Mark, as well as I, and they finally get a chance to showcase what they can do on the main roster, and they get hampered with Hornswoggle as their mascot. How shitty is this?
It's funny because I liked Hornswoggle when he was with 3MB. I thought it was interesting, and the whole El Torito and him thing was interesting, but now it's just kind of getting like, I don't even know. It's just like they could have just totally. Heath Slater, I mean, he beat Seth Rollins, like I think the best one on the roster right now, and it's ridiculous.
Not to mention, Titus O'Neil's trying to start a feud with Neville as well.
I talked about that too on my video. I was wondering what the hell was that about? I was just like, why was he out there? Are they putting him back on NXT? Like, but he's also doing stuff with Heath Slater though too, so it's just random stuff. But I just
to work Neville before Neville starts working Kenta and Devitt and the new guys.
Yeah. I like Hornswoggle though. I don't hate the guy or anything like that. I hate El Torito. That's who I hate. I actually watched. It's actually kind of interesting. I watched a few Hornswoggle interviews, and he actually seems like a really cool guy in real life. But it's funny. Steph really talks highly of Hornswoggle too. One of his recent interviews, he actually talked pretty high on Hornswoggle too. He talked about when they first met, how he first met Hornswoggle and everything, and how cool he was, what a cool guy he was, and everything. Yeah, I like Hornswoggle. I don't have a problem with Hornswoggle being with them, but I feel like if he's with them, that's fine, but I want them to win with him. It's just like I feel like we should have started with Hornswoggle finally beating El Torito. El Torito has beaten him like 25 times out of like 26.
And to tell you,
ridiculous.
The El Torito thing, I think they thought they had the next Hornswoggle, the next maybe even Rey Mysterio, dare I say, with him, and clearly that's not the case. The bull and the steam has left the bull, and no one cares about it anymore. And quite frankly, it's getting to the point where you might as well just turn Los Matadors back to Epico and Primo, because does anyone really care about Los Matadors? I mean, not that anyone really cares about Epico and Primo either, but
I feel like they had more potential than this.
Yeah, the gimmicks run its course, and it's time to get rid of Los Jabadores. And, Slater Gator, I really feel like could be an interesting piece in the tag team division. I'm not saying maybe tag team champions, although both come from former credible teams. But, you finally give them this push. You give them entrance music. You give them all this hype after them working hard on the JBL and Cole show and all these other outlets to get over, and you give them Hornswoggle. I just don't think it's necessary. I think they could have got over on their own. They both can talk. They both have charisma. They don't need a leprechaun in a gator suit for a mascot.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I do enjoy Hornswoggle as a heel, though, because it's funny because people are still behind Hornswoggle, too. He's kind of like one of those people that, they just can't hate. It's funny. But, yeah, it's just, I don't even know. I feel like since they haven't done, I feel like Seth Rollins things with him beating Seth Rollins, since they didn't do anything with that, I feel like it's just hopeless now with Heath Slater. And I hate saying that because I'm a huge fan of Heath Slater, but I just feel like it's pointless now. I mean, I feel like they kept him for a reason, though. I mean, they got rid of Jinder Mahal, and they got rid of Drew McIntyre, they got rid of all these guys. They kept Heath Slater. And I know why they kept Heath Slater is because, well, one, Seth Rollins actually talks highly about him, too, says that he's great and he doesn't know why he's a jobber. And also, the fans are totally behind Heath Slater. He gets cheers. He gets pops and everything like that. That one SmackDown, when I read spoilers and said that he got a huge pop, I was like so excited to watch that, and he did. He got a nice pop. So I don't know. I think that's the only reason why they're keeping him is because the fans are behind him, and because he's a good comedy role.
Yeah, they had ruined McIntyre. McIntyre is actually doing great wrestling under his real name now, Drew Galloway. Doing great in the indies. I hear he worked Tommy Dreamer recently in one of the indies, and Dreamer actually cut a promo after the match and, really put Drew Galloway or Drew McIntyre over really strong. And it's great to see that he's doing great because he's still got a lot of potential, and maybe not WWE. Maybe he's got to go to Japan. Maybe he's, but I think he's one of those guys that could find his way back on the roster eventually. He just had to re-find himself. And from what I hear, he's doing great in the indies, and that's great to hear.
Yeah, I watched his debut. That was awesome when he turned heel. It was awesome, and the fans were behind him too. The fans were cheering the hell out of him. I loved it. It was so great. I'll always be a fan of Drew McIntyre.
That's right.
All right. Rusev and Lana come out to confront the Big Show's apology. Well, he didn't really apologize. I talked about this in my video too, and and they pretty much say that there's going to be no match with Big Show, and they talk about, and I talked about Big Show's apology and about the WWE thing, and I pretty much said that, well, this is what's going around the web, that it's a joke, that WWE, no one was upset. They apologized for almost I don't know, to make more of the story, but obviously they gave permission for Big Show to do that and everything like that. They're not mad at him or anything like that. This is all part of their whole story and everything like that. It's not real. The apology wasn't real or anything like that. That the WWE did it, because I know the WWE apologized on the WWE.com. It was a joke. It wasn't even supposed to be serious or anything. I guess it's supposed to give more for the storyline, but
I will say, ripping down a flag is dangerous. Is very dangerous to do. Case in point, Jericho had an incident like this. One of his last tours with WWE.
Get permission to do this one, though.
That Jericho invented everything, as everybody knows. Jericho was working heel, and he desecrated one of the flags in South America. He ended up getting either fined or suspended over it, and he didn't know that that would cause an international incident. He was just trying to elicit heat. And clearly, with Big Show, I mean, the crowd loved it, but like I could see either Russian Americans or Russians in general getting a bit upset with seeing their flag get desecrated. I can see that. Now, clearly, they're turning it into a storyline, and we all know what happened after that. But, yeah, I mean, it's a thing because I think Big Show and him could have been a big matchup.
Yeah. We'll see how long he's suspended for, because they said they suspended him. And she says, like, he should be in jail for a hate crime and stuff like that. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And Rusev starts talking, and he pretty much calls us all kids, and he says that Big Show is a coward. And then the surprise return. The Rock comes out.
No!
I know Joe's all excited for this. And he starts making fun of Rusev and Lana, and he pretty much talks about how he wears his shorts up to his nipples. And he tells him to shut up and everything like that. Lana tells The Rock to shut up. And then he starts talking about how she looks, and he goes, like, oh, you're so beautiful and everything. You're so beautiful in real life, in person. And he goes, but the bad thing is you look like a streetwalker. Yeah. And it looks like you have something, like a Smirnoff bottle up your ass or something like that. It was really funny.
Well, and, didn't he say something about the meatpacking district too? Like,
yeah, that's her favorite place to go, yeah.
Point. And for them to bring in The Rock to kind of give the rub to Rusev, I mean, shows A, how much faith they have in Rusev, and B, like, I mean, this was just such a great moment. And any wrestling fan who didn't I know you're not a big fan of Dwayne personally, but this was a great moment. And it's a shame that I didn't have my DVR or my YouTube set for that. I did get the closing to Raw, but just an outstanding, incredible moment. I actually had tears going down my eyes, real talk. It was special. And I know at certain points the crowd was trolling the show with Derek Jeter chants, especially during the Kathy Lee Hoda thing. However, The Rock putting over Derek Jeter, let me tell you, from a true Yankee fan, that was really fucking classy of The Rock to do, and I really appreciate that. And it really helped him get over even bigger with that Brooklyn crowd, which, as you made the point, Haley, of saying as we were in our production meeting before the show, they did a great job. No one knew. No, not one smart mark could have said, oh, yeah, The Rock's going to be on the show tonight. Not one website had it. Not NoDQ.com, not WrestleZone, not the Wrestling Throwdown, not Joe Passarelli's show, not anything, not Duo Dreamer, not Sean's View Entertainment, not anything had that lead. That was an organic, great moment, and it's moments like that that make me proud to be a wrestling fan. Great to see Rocky back, working with the young talent, and, it gives me hope that we will see Rocky again involved in a big match. If Rock's going to come in, I don't think it's going to be against Rusev, but I think we will see him, whether it's against Brock Lesnar or, or something else, maybe even against Roman Reigns, his little nephew. So I do see that there's a match in Rock's future. He's spoken in interviews recently that he wants to work WrestleMania, and there's rumors that Steve Austin's getting in shape for one final match too. That's the big rumor going around. So we could see the Great One and the Rattlesnake possibly in the ring again. It's best for business.
I love that.
That's for business.
Definitely. Paige and Alicia Fox versus Emma and AJ Lee. I want to say something about AJ Lee. She's not a face. She can't be a face. I think the only reason why they turned her face was because of the Paige thing. But she just, with her character, she can't be face. It's just and I know they want her to be face because of the whole fans being behind her and everything like that, but how she acts, and obviously her walking out on Emma tonight, that is heel. That is straight up heel. I don't understand why and it's because Paige is a heel. That's why AJ can't be a heel. It's like, oh, please. It's just like, why the hell didn't you know? It would have just been way better. Because, I mean, they were both face for a few months, so why the hell can't they both be heel? But AJ... I feel like that was a bad mistake turning her face right when she came back. I feel like they needed to keep her heel. She's better off
Well,
as a heel. It's a mess when she's a face.
when she came back a few months ago, that infamous Raw when Jericho and her all came back, she got a huge pop, but the pop's been slowly diminishing over time, and they've watered the storyline down with involvement from the Bellas and other things. You know, it doesn't seem like we're getting this lesbian angle payoff, which everybody was hoping for, which is kind of just as well in certain regards. It would have been good, but it could have been bad too. So I'm okay with them not doing that as much as I would have loved to seen it from an image standpoint. I'm okay with them scrapping it. But, I mean, yeah, it just was confusing. Like, you're building AJ up as this sympathetic baby face, and, you know, now you add Alicia Fox as, like, the lackey to Paige, and I'm okay with that. I think they have chemistry, and Alicia Fox is talented, and she deserves to be on TV. A lot more talented than some of these Total Diva girls, I'll tell you that much. So, Cameron, among others. So, you know, and I like Emma. I am an Democrat. I'm proud to say I'm proud of the Evolution. And this was her first really televised match since her Walmart incident a few months ago. It was great to hear her music. It was great to see her come out. She actually got to, you know, be the main worker in that match. And unless this is like set up to elevate Emma, if that's the case, I'm kind of okay with it. You know, getting Emma involved, almost like have book Emma how they're booking Bailey on NXT. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like similarly in that regard. And I'm okay with that. Emma, at this point, she's been on the main roster for about a year. The Santino thing came and went with his retirement. She hasn't had anything to sink her teeth into. And if she's involved in this maybe a three-way feud with Emma, Paige, you know what I mean, and AJ, I'm a lot more okay with that than throwing the Bellas in there. So I think that could be good. But in terms of, like, AJ walking out, it just left me confused. I didn't like it at all. It left me very confused. And you could tell it was the victim of shoddy booking as a result of that match. And it looked like even AJ didn't quite know how to play it up, to tell you the truth. It was stupid. It made AJ look bad. It made Emma look bad. It made her not only look like a heel, but it made her look like a coward. And whether she's been a babyface or heel, AJ Lee's never been a coward. You know, she's gone up, stood up for herself against the likes like Kane, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, Vince McMahon, and now she's going to be, like, walking out on Emma because she's not feeling locking up with friggin' PMS 2.0, which, by the way, was the Pretty Mean Sisters, for those who don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know. It was a bad look as far as I'm concerned.
It's actually funny. I would actually like to see Emma turn heel in the process and join Paige. I actually think it would have been better for her and to take Alicia Fox's place, because Paige and Emma are actually best friends in real life. But it would be so much better because, I mean, Emma could obviously play off that, oh, AJ left me, you know, so I'm going to join Paige, blah, 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 and they can team up against AJ. I would love that. I actually would totally love that because I love Emma and Paige. Both very talented, and as you guys know, I can't stand AJ Lee, so there's that.
I mean, regardless of your feelings on AJ, she has carried this. Her and Paige have been really the standard bearers of this Divas division for years now. I mean, for AJ, she was the only one besides Caitlyn to really establish themselves. Like, yeah, I mean, the Bellas are kind of old news in terms of they've been around forever. They left and came back, but it's not like they're new commodities. They're famous because of a reality show now. So, I mean, I give a lot of respect to Paige, Emma, Charlotte, and all these girls coming up. I think they're all great. Bailey is another one I happen to like, you know. But, like, at least this maybe gives Emma something to do. If that's the result of this booking, then I'm okay with it. But if Emma goes back to out of sight, out of mind, and this was done for no reason whatsoever, it doesn't leave a good taste in my mouth. Whether you like it.
Emma has to confront AJ Lee.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sheamus versus The Miz. Miz wins. I feel like he needs a U.S. title shot now. And I definitely like what you said before. I really want Sheamus to turn heel in the process, but I don't know about the Miz face turn because a lot of people didn't like Miz as a face, and that's probably why they turned him back as a heel so quickly after he came back and gave him this whole Hollywood gimmick thing. I don't know about that because I would also love to see Damien Sandow turn face too,
That's
but
what I'm saying. Yeah, Damian Sandow. As you saw, the Sandow's better chance. He was really over with that Brooklyn crowd, and that was great to see. And he was really playing it up. You know, he was trying to pantomime all of Miz's movement. It entertains me so much. He's sitting there stomping when Miz is stomping, selling when Miz is selling. And then, like, you know, he was finally playing up to the crowd, and they gave him a big rousing cheer when he finally acknowledged them. And, I mean, look, like, Sandow's an entertaining guy, man, and like it certainly could result in a Sandow face turn, this doppelganger, if you will, you know, stunt double gimmick. It could result in a face turn for him finally standing up for himself, and it can give rise to him and Miz having some good matches down the road. So that's what I'm hoping. You know, I'm a Sandow fan, and this match gave me hope for Sandow. It really did, because this Brooklyn crowd really connected with him. And the Brooklyn crowd's not an easy crowd to get over with, despite the fandangoing a couple years ago.
yeah, I'm not overly in love with Sandow, but I do have faith in him. I do want to see more of him.
You're welcome.
John Cena versus Randy, Seth, and Kane. And Seth started off the match. The bell rang, and he tagged in Kane. He did start off the match though, so you can't argue with that.
Seconds around.
It ended in a DQ. It was very fast. And Dean comes out, and he comes out with a hot dog cart.
Hot dog! Holy Jim.
He's eating a hot dog too. He comes out and he's eating a hot dog, and he's just watching the action, enjoying himself. And he has mustard and ketchup in his I guess you can say belt pocket thingy, kind of whatever they're called. And he squirts it all over Randy and Kane. And then he attacks Seth. And then he starts throwing hot dog items at him, buns and everything else. And he grabs tongs and grabs Seth's, obviously, you know what, and squeezes it and everything. And then Triple H comes out and then pretty much says that you guys both still want Seth. Well, that's fine. I'm going to make Dean versus Cena at Hell in a Cell. And he says the winner is going to face Seth in Hell in a Cell. So that's going to be awesome. That's obviously going to be their main event. And Dean then attacks Cena. And stands tall. He looks great, you know. Obviously the last man standing, and looks very strong.
Dean Ambrose gets Monday Night Raw. I mean, this hot dog cart, like I said, I missed Jim Ross on commentary because he really would have sold that hot dog cart. I recorded it, put it on my channel. And I was trying to get my Jim Ross up and stuff. Hot dog. Like he would, like, you know, it's like the milk truck or the beer truck. It was really awesome. I actually predicted on my show a while ago that Daniel Bryan would come back with a Yes truck, which Duo Dreamer absolutely loved. But you know, I thought this was great. I thought maybe we would get vignettes of like that they'd maybe shot early in the day of Dean actually at Coney Island riding the rides and stuff. Like I was actually kind of quite looking forward to that. And then we got The Rock, so I was kind of riding that high for a little while. But yeah, for him to come out, we all knew he was going to crash the party at the end. That was the worst kept secret of the show. But it was very well done, and to cover Ring.
And we lost Joe. But yeah, it was great. So funny. Like I said though before, I love the whole main event, how they're gonna have Cena, and well, it's not a really main event. It's gonna probably be in the beginning of the show with Cena and Dean at Hell in a Cell, and then whatever, if Brock Lesnar returns or if the Authority interrupts something, either Dean is going to win or it's going to end up being a triple threat. But I also heard in the rumors, the spoilers, that whoever doesn't win this match is going to face Randy Orton. So I think I think it probably is going to be Dean obviously winning with Xena. Unless they really do want to have one Xena versus Seth match because they can't stand Xena not being in the main event, and then obviously Dean finishing up his feud with Seth. But it's because I do have a feeling that Xena and Seth are going to face off one time. So it wouldn't shock me for Dean to face Randy and then freaking Xena to face Seth. But whatever the outcome is it's going to be obviously the loser facing Randy Orton and the winner facing Seth. But Joe, finish your thoughts.
Yeah, I got cut off there. Yeah, I really hope it's Dean and Seth in the main event, and maybe with Cena and Orton, we can get something where Orton comes up just short, and that can be his exit from the Authority. Hopefully that could be in it. That could give rise to corporate Sheamus. So all of our booking from this week could make sense just with that. So, overall it was a strong Raw. You saw Dean last man standing, and it was interesting that he didn't use the Dirty D's, but instead a double arm DDT to hit Cena. Which I'm a fan of the double arm DDT, and I use that as one of my finishing moves. So I was happy to see that, and I even said that he needs another finisher besides the Dirty D's because I don't think that's enough.
Something more brutal and vicious, because he's brutal and vicious and he's crazy, and he needs something more aggressive.
Even it's like a spike pile driver or something, which I know they don't like doing pile drivers anymore, but something like that. But I think the double arm DDT worked. No one's really using it anymore. Curtis Axel was using it for a while. He kind of stopped using it. Obviously, Mick Foley used it back in the day. You saw Drew McIntyre use it as a finish when he was the chosen one. It's a very good move, and I think it can fit Dean as another move to his arsenal along with the Dirty Deeds, which can maybe push Dirty Deeds to more of a signature, because I just don't see it as a strong finish, especially with Adam Rose and P3 using it as well.
Yeah, he definitely needs to change that finishing move. It's crazy. But Raw was actually pretty good. I was actually happy with it.
I'd give it a solid B+, A-. Obviously, with the Kathy Lee and Hoda stuff and other segments, everything wasn't perfect. But I do feel like internet wrestling fans out there, please chillax. They gave us The Rock this week, and we still found ways to it's one thing to do a review video and openly criticize every, give your strengths and weaknesses of every segment, which is what we do. But I do feel like there was a lot of animus this week from the usual wrestling fans who are like, oh, look, we got The Rock. We got Dean Ambrose being pushed big time, furtherment in the storyline, the announcement of the Hell in a Cell main event. We got some good stuff this week. Tyson Kidd on the main roster now, using younger talent better. Obviously with the AJ thing and the Kathy Lee and Hoda thing, there were some flaws in their logic this week. But overall, I'd give it an A-. I thought it was a very good show.
Yeah, I know a lot of people liked the hot dog thing. I know Renee liked it. She tweeted about it. Of course, she was watching it, but
the hot dog thing was absolutely awesome. And not only that, but like I said, with The Rock, I'm trying to finish my thought here. I'm kind of all over the place. It was a good moment, and who knows, I mean. And also, we didn't mention this. It was great to see Edge and Christian on Raw as well. I know they were hyping the WWE Network thing.
I forgot about that. Love them. My favorite tag team. In my opinion, best tag team of all time. My opinion.
Well, we agree on that one. They are my favorite tag team of all time. I am an Edge head. I am a peep. I totally reek of awesomeness.
Edge is my second favorite wrestler of all time. I gotta love it.
4 or 5 seconds only. I am rated R. I love Edge and Christian. Like a lot of people like the Hardys growing up, and I never disrespect the Hardys or the Dudleys, but Edge and Christian
I was never crazy about the Hardys. And Dudley Boys I liked, but Edge and Christian were just my favorite. Like, as soon as I seen them, I was just like, these guys are so awesome. Like, I love them. So
for me, this goes back to when they debuted in the Brood. I knew when I saw Edge then, this guy was going to be a main eventer. Yeah, I mean, and it's not often that I feel that way. I felt that way when Punk debuted on ECW. I felt that way when Bryan started getting momentum. But I knew when Edge debuted with the Brood, like wow, like I didn't necessarily see it with Christian or Gangrel. And I know Christian rose up the ranks as well, but I always knew Edge was gonna be a main eventer. It was great to see him and Christian. And you know, there's rumors about Christian. Is he done with in ring? Is he gonna?
They want him to be an agent. They're worried about his, and I agree. He's injury prone. He definitely is injury prone. I hate to say that. I think Wade Barrett's gonna start falling into that too. Dolph was falling into that for a little bit, but Dolph's getting healthier, so I'm kind of pushing Dolph out of that. But if we hear Kurt one more time, say that he's injury prone too.
I don't think Dolph takes as many crazy bumps as he used to. I think he's slowed it down.
Yeah, he did have quite a few concussions after pretty close together. But Corey Graves had that problem too. He had 2 concussions like right in a row, and they're worried about Corey Graves. They don't want to bring him back, and that's what scares me. Like it's just like I feel like they should give Corey Graves one more time a chance, and if he gets injured, then you know make him an agent or whatever. Because they said that they wanted to keep Corey Graves too, but not as a wrestler. But yeah, and it's sad too that Edge had to retire when he did. Oh my God, I cried my eyes out when he had to retire. I was so upset. I'm not even. Ugh, it was so sad.
Miss you, Adam. Raw's never been the same without you.
Yeah.
Although are doing.
Alrighty, guys. Well, don't forget to thumbs up this video.
Yep.
Subscribe. Follow us on Twitter. If this is the first time you're watching this and you like content, don't forget to join our Facebook group. I'll put all the links in the description. Don't forget to follow Joe on his channel.
Yep.
And the Strike Zone. I'll put all the links in the description.
Strike Zone every Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. on rickradio.org. Joe Pastorelli's channel, as mentioned. And I wanted to say quickly, 20 seconds as we're wrapping this up. We're taking it home. RICW this past Saturday. Drumsticks and drop kicks. I know I did a lot of promotion for it, and Haley, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to promote it on this show, and I've been promoting it on the Strike Zone, and all of our team have been promoting it so much. We drew over 150 people, which is more than some notable indie promotions in the New England area. We made waves. We're trying to plan our future shows going forward in the venue that we did at West Warwick, Rhode Island. The bar did great. Everybody made money. It was a great show, and I just want to thank everybody who came out and supported the RICW brand. Each and every one of the wrestlers thrived off it. We had great matches, and it was just a great event. And like I said, Haley, thank you for allowing me to promote it on this show. I greatly appreciate it. It was met with great success.
Alrighty, guys. Well, I will see you next time, probably on my TNA. And Joe usually can't do TNA with me anymore because I usually, obviously, do it when he does the Strike Zone because of school and everything. So we need to do TNA, though, together again. I really want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, and I've read up on the spoilers of TNA, and I don't like what I see. They don't even correlate with Bound for Glory. It makes no sense.
It's really bad. In a few weeks, they do some crazy ass stuff. Like I don't even. Oh, pretty much my reviews are going to be about how bad the show is.
Samoa Joe and the Wolves aren't even going to be on Bound for Glory because of what they've done. This is so stupid.
Oh, I hate Samoa Joe.
I know you do, but...
Alrighty, guys. I really wanted Austin Aries to win. But anyways, guys, I will see you Thursday night for TNA, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fabulous day, and I will see you in the next one.